Hi students, I am Dr. M. Ashraf Majrooh, Professor of Community Medicine. I welcome you in the learning session of Evolution of Global Health. This is the first lecture of International Health Series. And before going to the agenda of this session, first I want to explain what is the scope of international health regarding MBBS student curriculum. The international health, although it is a broad subject, it is complete discipline for master and PhD courses. But for the medical student of MBBS, it is essential to learn the aspects of the international health that are the evolution of global health, the global health agendas and international health regulation. So, in first lecture, in this session, we will take the evolution of global health. So, what is the agenda of the evolution of global health? It will include health beyond the boundaries, the biological and social evolution, establishment of international health institutions, establishment of WHO, structure and functions of WHO, and the emerging global health issues. So, we will discuss this agenda one by one. So, first of all, what is the philosophy of health beyond the boundaries? The disease and health is a common concern of mankind, irrespective of race, religion, culture, and geographical boundaries. So the boundaries are meaningless for the diseases, and the human concerns all over the world about the health, irrespective of the political and the other affiliations. Health is an outcome of interaction of human being with its external environment. Then human as a species is struggling to attain, maintain and enhance the internal stability and external equilibrium to enjoy highest potential of life. So this is the philosophy due to which the health don't care the boundaries. Let us discuss the biological and social evolution in respect to health. We will see the health in evolutionary perspectives. Uh, Here you can see the stages of biological and social evolution from the beginning of the earth through Big Bang or whatever the theories and the present day man. If we see the biological evolution have passed many stages with the appearance of energy. Then due to this energy, the atoms, molecules, and then organized as in the form of cell, then in the form of organisms, creatures, and ultimately the Homo sapien species, the present day man. But on the same time, if we look at the social evolution, the human being have passed three phases of evolutions, three stages of evolution. In stage one, the entities learn how to become viable and independent in their framework of existence. So first is the struggle for viability. In second stage, as the life condition become more complex, the entities bond to each other to create viable independent group structures. So the second phase is the binding and struggling as a group entities. And in the stage three in social evolution, as the life conditions become more complex, the group structures then cooperate to each other to form together higher order entities. So these are the stages of evolution, and we will see the health in these biological and social evolution perspective. If we look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, here again we are moving from subconscious to conscious struggle for evolution. And in subconscious, we see the physiological need, that is the breathing in space, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, and excretions. These are the physiological needs, and these are the part of subconscious. And the major subconscious is also in the safety, security of the body, employment of resources, mortality, family health, and properties. And then is the friendship and family, sexual intimacy, loving and belonging phase. These are almost in the survivorship, and they are the subconscious efforts for survival. Then this is the self-esteem and self-actualization phases, where there is a self-esteem, confidence, achievement of respect of others, respect by others. And then morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, and acceptance of facts. So this is how we are moving from there. This is the subconscious phase when we are fulfilling basic needs for survival, and this is the enjoyment of positive health and self-actualization. So this is how the hierarchy of need is explaining the evolutionary steps, which I have explained in the last slide. So here we can more explaining for more details the stages of evolution and the social consciousness in the scope of the nations and the countries. If we look at this, the stage one is becoming viable or independent. And in this stage, there is bands of the population, and then they are conforming into tribes and differentiating into the states. So these three phases, the bands, the tribes, the states, these are falling in the subconscious evolution, and that is becoming viable. Then stage two, bonding to form group structure. Here the individualizing as nations and self-actualizing as cohesive nations. So this is the second phase, and this is the third phase, cooperating to create higher order entity. And here we see the people, they are integrating into regional grouping and surviving as a global grouping. So these are the evolutionary phases, and the health now has no boundaries. They are evolving with all these phases, and they are they are now achieving the more complex phenomena health, and it is now the global concern. Now we will see the establishment of international institution. So in pursuance of establishment of international institutions, if we look at the world epidemics and pandemics, these were the threats to life, and they trigger the points of unification of the people. So if we look at the ancient time, At the end of before Common Era and the start of the Common Era, here we have the Antonian plague, and then we have the Black Deaths, and which is also called the Justinian plague. Then there is a great plague of London, and then we see the Spanish flu in 19th century. This is the transition between the industrial era to the modern era, and then today we see from 1960 onward so many epidemics occurred. And if we see one by one, the Gallen plague claimed about 5 million lives, and it remained in 165 to 180 in Common Era. And then Justinian plague and Black Death by Yersinia pestis, 30 to 50 million by the Justinian, and Black Death about 200 million life claimed. And the great smallpox and the great plague of London, 100,000 deaths, and the Italian plague, 1 million deaths. So these natural calamities, they were the trigger point to unite against the diseases. Then the deadly pandemics were not stopped, and in the modern era there is a cholera plague again in 1885, the Russian flu, the yellow fever, Spanish flu, H1N1, and Asian flu, H2N2. So these epidemics occurred in this era, and now they are not stopping, but they are increasing. We see in the new era, in modern era, the Hong Kong flu, the HIV/AIDS, the swine flu, SARS uh, in 2002, and Ebola in 2014, MERS in 2015, and now today, as I am talking, the COVID has almost they are reaching to 10 million of the cases and about 5 lakh deaths throughout the world. So now the if we talk about the unity, the public health emergency of international concern have been provoked, and the COVID is declared as deadly pandemic all over the world. And it is about in 200 above 200 countries. So this is the scenario where the people they have the threats and fears, and then they unite for the survival as well as for the consciousness. Then proceeding further, the health concern in ancient and middle age era, as I have explained in the previous slide, the evidence of epidemics are evident in before Common Era and in Common Era. In early Common Era, during the Antonian plague, the fears of the death created common human concern, and in 165 to 180 Common Era. After that, during the Justinian plague and the Black Death in 14th century, the procedures of quarantine were developed, and in Europe to prevent the diseases and importation of diseases. 40 days quarantine program was imposed by the Europe, and different countries adopted different procedures for quarantine. This was the first organized international health work. So this is the important landmark, and it was in 14th century Common Era. Then historical landmark for global health. The International Sanitary Conference is the big landmark for the unification for the health. The first conference was held in 23rd June 1851 in Paris, in France, attended by Austria, France, Great Britain, Greece, Portugal, Russia, and Spain. And then a series of 14 conferences were held from 1851 to 1938. They prepared an international sanitary code to combat the deadly pandemic of cholera, yellow fever, bubonic plague. Conferences became ineffective in 1892 after a sanitary convention for cholera was approved and passed. Then the other landmark is the Pan American Sanitary Bureau in 1902. This is the big landmark in the evolution of international health. International Health Agency intended to coordinate quarantine procedure in American states. They signed a Pan-American Sanitary Code in 1924 that is still enforced between the states to this date. Bureau was renamed as Pan American Sanitary Organization in 1947, and then in 1958 it was again renamed as Pan American Health Organization (FAHO) with its headquarters in Washington DC. Now it is the regional office of WHO for the American region. The other historical landmark is the Office of International Hygiene and Hygiene and Public. The Office of International Hygiene and Public was founded in 1907 in Paris, France. The function of OIHP were to disseminate the information about the communicable diseases and to supervise the communicable diseases control. The OIHP and PESO joined together later on. The office existed up to 1950, and then ultimately they were taken over by WHO. Another landmark in the history of international health or in global health development, the League of Nations and the Health Organization for the League of Nations was established in 1907. The League of Nations was formed after the First World War in 1920. The League of Nations established the Health Organization of League of Nations in 1923. The League of Nations was dissolved in 1939. Till the end of the World War II, three agencies were existing: OIHP, PASB, and Health Organization of League of Nations. So these are the landmark. These were the important international health institution, which later on emerged and laid down the foundation of establishment of World Health Organization. Now, establishment of World Health Organization is the big achievement in today global health agenda. In 1945, the conference held in San Francisco, and the United Nations was formed. After World War II, the United Nations absorbed all other health organizations to form WHO. Hence, the constitution of WHO was signed by all 51 countries of United Nations members and by other 10 non-member countries on 22nd July 1946. But this constitution formally came into force on the first World Health Day, 7th April 1948, and that is why 7th April is declared as World Health Day, and it is celebrated every year. When it was ratified, the constitution was ratified by 26 member states, and now every member of United Nations subscribes it to WHO. So now the WHO is the great institution, global institution serving for the health. Recently, now they have taken many steps against the COVID-19, and they were all struggling in all countries, member countries and non-member countries world over, to combat the deadly pandemic COVID-19. Hence, for summarizing the evolution of WHO key landmarks, here in 51, the international sanitary conferences, as I have already mentioned, and the 14 international sanitary conferences were held from 1851 with the emergence of the plague and up to 1938. And this was the first landmark. Then in 1902, Pan American Sanitary Bureau is the next step, which was later on named as Pan American Sanitary Organization and Pan American Health Organization. In 1907, the Office of International Hygiene Public was established in France, and then they established the Quarantine. HIO and PASB joined together to exist up to 1950, and they then ultimately were absorbed in WHO. The other the contributor is the Health Organization of League of Nations, and the Health Organization of League of Nations was functioning in the Geneva headquarters, which was now the WHO headquarters is still functioning in the Geneva headquarters of League of Nations. Then United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration was established after the Second World War to organize the recovery from the effects of war. Health Division to care the displaced persons in 1946, and then ultimately this was under the Health Division, and it started then as WHO. So all these four are directly still contributing, and Pan American Health Organization is still existing as a regional office of the America region of WHO. Then we learn about the structure and function of World Health Organization. The World Health Organization, first we talk about the membership of World Health Organization. All countries which are member of the United Nations may become member of WHO by accepting its constitution. Then other countries may be admitted as a member when their application has been approved by simple majority vote of the World Health Assembly. Territories which are not responsible for conduct of their international relation may be admitted as the associate member upon application made on their behalf by member or other authority responsible for international relations. Then members of WHO are grouped according to the region, which we will discuss in detail, and at present there are 194 member states of WHO. Then what is the scope of WHO? WHO is directing and coordinating authority of health within the United Nations system. It is responsible for providing leadership on global health, such as shaping health research agenda, setting norms and standards, articulating evidence-based policy options, providing technical support to the countries, monitoring and assessing health trends. So this is the scope of World Health Organization currently. Now the structure of WHO is mainly divided into World Health Assembly, the Executive Board, the Secretariat, The regional offices, they are 6 in number, and the members are 194 member states. Then what is the World Health Assembly? The all the WHO member are represented in the World Health Assembly. Each member has one vote, but may send 3 delegates. Um, the assembly meets annually, usually in May, for approximately 3 weeks. Most of the assemblies have been held at WHO headquarters in Geneva. A president is elected by each assembly. World Health Assembly determines the policies of organization and deals with the budgetary, administrative, and similar questions. Then functions of World Health Assembly. The World Health Assembly deals with the sanitary and quarantine requirement and other procedures designated to prevent international epidemics, nomenclature with respect to disease, causes of death, and the public health practices. Standards with respect to diagnostic procedures for international use. Standards with respect to safety, purity, and potency of the biological, pharmaceutical, and similar products in the international commerce. Advertising and labeling biological, pharmaceutical, and similar products in international commerce. Promulgation of international health regulation and integrated disease surveillance and response. Then the executive board is an important structural element in World Health Organization. And the WHO may elect any 32 member country on equitable geographical distribution for 3 terms. Each elected country elected can designate one person technically qualified in the field of health to WHO executive board. Country are elected on rotation, 1/3 of the member being replaced every year. Board members serve as individual and not as a representative of their governments. The executive board meets twice a year for a session of a few days to several weeks. It may convene a special meeting at any time. So this is the structural statutory body of the World Health Organization, known as Executive Board. The functions of Executive Board: it prepares the agenda of World Health Assembly, and the WHO Constitution authorized the board to take emergency measures within the functions and financial resources of the organization to deal with the event requiring immediate actions like epidemic responses and public health emergency of international concern. In particular, it may authorize the Director General to take the necessary step to combat the epidemic and participate in the organization of health relief to victims of the calamities. So these are the functions of Executive Board, very important functions. Then WHO Secretariat. The Secretariat comprises the technical and administrative personnel of organization. It is headed by Director General appointed by World Health Assembly. The first director of WHO was Dr. Brock Chisholm of Canada, and current DG is Dr. Tabros from Ethiopia. The constitution of WHO consists of 82 articles and preambles. The preamble of the constitution consists of very important points, and few points are quoted and the full document of WHO Constitution is available. The preamble states that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And preamble further elaborate the enjoyment of highest attainable standards of health is one of the fundamental right of every human being without distinction of race, religion, political beliefs, economics, or social conditions. So that is why in the beginning of my lecture, as a philosophy, the health beyond the boundaries mean the health is fundamental right of every human being. And then the health of all people is fundamental to the attainment of peace and security, and is dependent on the fullest cooperation of individuals and the states. Unequal development in different countries in the promotion of health and control of diseases, especially communicable diseases, is a common danger. So these are a few principles. They are included in the preamble of the WHO Constitution. Then WHO have many divisions. Currently, there are 14 divisions, and a few of them very important divisions. They are mentioned here. The division of prevention and control of specific diseases, development of comprehensive health services, family health, environmental health, health statistics, biomedical research, health literature and information cooperation with the other organizations. So these are the important key divisions, functional divisions of World Health Organization. Now the headquarter and the regions, as I have mentioned already, the WHO headquarter lies in Geneva, Switzerland, and there are 6 regions. And the Southeast Asia region, named as CERO, the Southeast East Asia Regional Office. The office is located in New Delhi, India. Then Afro and the African region, and the headquarter is regional headquarter is in Brazzaville, Republic of Congo. And the Europe headquarter is in Copenhagen, Denmark. The Eastern Mediterranean region, EMRO, the office headquarter is in Cairo, Egypt. Western Pacific region, WEPRO, the headquarter is in Manila, Philippines. The Americas region and the regional office of America, the office is in Washington DC. And these are the 6 regions. And here I will like to explain some demarcations or the distribution of the countries and WHO countries in the region. Um, uh, in Africa, most of the Afro regions, they are in the Africa. They are linked with the Afro regions, but there are exceptions of Egypt, Sudan, Tunisia, Libya, Somalia, and Morocco. They although they are they fall under the Amro region. Then Euro include the Europe, except the Israel and all former USSR states. The Southeast Asia, the North Korea is exclusively served by CERO and all the countries of Southeast Asia plus the North Korea. The Eastern Mediterranean region serves the countries of Africa that are not included in Afro, as well as the countries of the Middle East except for Israel. and Pakistan is served by Eastern Mediterranean region. Western Pacific region WEPRO covers all the Asian countries not served by the CIRO and EMRO, and all the countries in Oceania and South Korea is served by the WEPRO. The America, it is also known as Pan American Health Organization, as I have already mentioned in the previous slides, and it covers the America. So these are the 6 WHO regions and the country distribution. Now, what are the stakeholders of WHO? WHO closely work with the decision maker ministries, ministries of health, government agencies, other government departments at the national level. It also works with the influencers, health partnerships, foundations, intra-governmental and non-governmental organizations, civil societies, media, professionals, professional associations, and WHO collaborating centers. Then WHO engages the United Nations at the global, regional, and country level, and is also the major asset. Uh, then international organization working with the WHO, they are ADB, Asian Development Bank, UNICEF, United Nations Children Fund, UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund, UNDP, United Nations Development Programme, UNEP, United Nations Environmental Programme, UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, WFP World Food Programme, UNAID, a joint United Nations Programme for HIV AIDS. IFRC, International Federation of Red Cross, and FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, IOM, International Organization of Migrations, WB, World Bank. So these are the organizations closely working with WHO. Then emerging global health issues on which the World Health have the concerns. They are the epidemics and pandemics, air pollution, environmental degradation like global warming, ozone depletion, deforestation, species extinction, globalization and economic disparities among the countries. These are the emerging global health concerns. Then global health agenda after the establishment of WHO, we will take into the next lecture the agenda. This is the setting goals and targets for health. That is up till now the health for all was the agenda set by WHO after its creation, then primary health care package, selective and comprehensive approach for primary health care, Millennium Development Goals up to 2015, Sustainable Development Goal SDG up to 2030, then monitoring process and health impacts and reiterating goals and targets for health. So these are the agenda. We will take these agenda in detail in the next lecture. Now on conclusion, the 14 billion years of evolution is now dependent on human consciousness. We have to shift from the state of unconscious uh, evolution to the state of conscious evolution. We must start addressing how well we are doing by measuring ourselves against the full spectrum of human needs. Unfolding ability of consciousness to unify ourselves on the earth planet for health and sustainable living. So this is the struggle which is required. Thank you very much for sparing the time.